Hello, and welcome to today's video. This time we are in Study Island and we are talking about creating built tests. So why would you want to create a built test in Study Island? Well, built tests are that custom assessment builder that will allow you to do some of your formative assessment, can even be done to help with some of your summative assessment. It can also be used to create common assessments that are shared amongst your colleagues. And it can also form the foundation of your group sessions. So whenever you do those Kahoot-style games within Study Island, you can utilize the exact same assessment piece and reuse that time and time again. But probably the most important part of all of this is that independent of what the end result of your built test is, the result will be building your data pool to understand exactly how much content your students have actually mastered. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into Study Island. And we will start, as we always do, at the teacher page. And as you remember, from the teacher page, that is pretty much where you can get to everything that you need within Study Island. But today, we're going to point out the two ways to get to your built tests. One is on the left-hand side in the menu, which is the built test library, and that will take you to all of the built tests that you have done in the system. But for today, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start over here and go to the create a built test portion under my assignments. So whenever I go to create a built test, I will once again remind everybody that you want to make sure that the title that you provide for these assessments is something that is definitely going to be meaningful for you. Because if you do save these and if you share them, you want them to be something that is very meaningful, that is very easy to search inside of a library. I often recommend that you start off with the school year. I use teacher's last name. Go with subject and even the actual topic within the subject. In this case, what I'll actually do is I'll do with comparing fractions. You can add in additional information if you wish. This might be if you're doing, say, a summative assessment and you want to list all of the different topics that you put inside here. That's a great place to put all of that. Next, we'll move on to building the actual questions. From here, you will see whatever libraries you have available to you. If you're a Pennsylvania customer, you will see your Pennsylvania and your US programs. But I strongly encourage you to always live in your state's program and within your grade level, because all of your reporting is based off of the state program and the actual library. In this case, I'm going to build a fourth grade assessment in PA. I'm going to build out of the math library. And you'll notice that the libraries are all set up according to our topic trees. And if you remember, the title that I put on here was comparing fractions. I'll go down here into the comparing fractions subject. And once I load all of these up, I am then faced with two different libraries. Important call out here, the practice questions. This is our general library. So if a student goes in and is just working in the topic tree or maybe does a practice and instruction assignment, these are the questions that they may see as a result of some of those assessments. But if I want a completely clean library, something that they will not have seen during their normal use of the program, the assessment questions library is the one that we want to choose. So in the assessment questions here, I can then go through and I can identify those questions that I want as part of my built test. In this case, I'm looking at comparing fractions, and I like this question. So I can go ahead and I can add that to my assessment. Another key call out here is if I am doing a review game, so such as that Kahoot style game, or if I want to create a worksheet on all of this later on, and I like this style of question, I can also increase the number of instances of these types of questions And in this case, whenever I click on 3, I have now chosen 3 of this type of question. I can continue to go through my library and just choose whichever questions that I like. And in this case, what I've done is I've chosen 6 questions to be added to my built test. Maybe I also want to add some questions out of that practice library. Maybe I want to give them an idea of something that they may have already seen. So I can go down and I can add out of this library as well. 9, and there's 10. So now what I've done is I've created a 10-question assessment based solely off of comparing fractions. Once I'm done, I can go ahead and save those selections and notice that I have 10 questions from comparing fractions. Another call out, if I am now doing a summative assessment where I'm doing all kinds of different things with fractions, I could go in and add questions from equivalent fractions. I could do some adding fractions, some subtracting fractions. I can go within different subjects along the topic tree and add questions from all of those. So I can build now not just a topic assessment, but I could create a unit assessment or even a spiraled assessment throughout the year to make sure that my students are retaining information. But for today's topic, we're just going to go ahead and look at these 10 questions that I have created in here. Once I am satisfied with that, I go down to the very bottom and I am faced with 2 different choices. One is create assignment now, and the other one is save to library and exit. I strongly encourage you to always save to your library and exit. If you do the create assignment now, it is going to allow you to assign it out to a particular group of students, classes, individual students, whomever it might be, and then it is done. You will have to go back and build it again. But if you save it to the library and exit, it now saves into your library. So whenever we were at that topic or at the teacher page at the very beginning, we talked about the built test library. If I click on that, this is what I see. And these are all of the built tests that I have. From here, again, this is the one that I just created. I can go in and I can view the details. So notice it is bringing in from my math library, from 4th grade, and comparing fractions. If I chose multiple topics, those would be listed here as well. I can also go in, I can preview that test. So now this is what it is going to look like in the system, and I can actually look at all of the different questions that are in there. If I want to, I can also assign the test from here. So let's say that I want to go ahead and just push this out to my classes. Whenever I click on assign, I can assign it as a built test. So it will be an assessment out to those students. Or I can assign it as a group session. I can put it in that Kahoot-style group session and use this as the review session for my classroom. And if I wanted to, I can also go back and edit. So if I wanted to change some questions, I can do that as well. This is also then where I can share this test out. So if I want to share this out, once I am sure that that is the assessment that I want to use, I've collaborated with my team and we are good to go with this, I can share this out. And now whenever another teacher comes in my building and they open up the assessment or their built test library and they click on the created by others, they will then see that assessment that I just created in their created by others library. And from there, they will have the exact same options to assign and view and move on from there as well. And that is how you go in and you create a built assessment within Study Island. Again, using these assessments will meet a number of different needs for you. You can create that short formative assessment. So it can be as small as a 1, 2, 5 question quiz. You can create a summative assessment for the end of your chapter or your unit. So along the lines of a 10, 20, even a 30 question assessment. You can create a spiraled assessment So if you want to track your students' progress of mastery of content throughout the year to make sure that they are on pace to master those skills by the end of year assessment, you can create those types of assessments as well. Again, those can also serve as the foundation for your group sessions. So your Kahoot style game, you can use that to be the foundation. And the nice part about this is if you save all of these to your libraries, they will be available for your use this year, next year, and years beyond. And you can then also share those out with your colleagues as well. Thank you again very much.